I am beyond excited to talk to you guys today. It has been forever since I've done a live session, like 2.5, maybe even 3 months, because if most of you guys follow me on Everyday Chiffon, I have been moving. Sadly, I left my beloved Denver after 6 years and moved back home to Minnesota because of the baby on the way in September. So I'm loving being home by family. Obviously miss the mountains and the sunshine and my friends and all of that and all of my blogger girls there, but I'm happy to be home. So I just want to make sure. Okay, so I wanted to get on here and talk about moving while blogging and kind of keeping everything together, staying organized, not being too hard on yourself, knowing when it's good to take a smart break, and so on. So I'm just going to kind of jump into it, and I'm going to try and keep it short. But I'm speaking from literally just going through this. We moved home to Minnesota at the beginning of May. I think we moved into our place like May 2nd or May 3rd. So literally have only been here less than 2 months, and we had lived in Colorado for 6 years. So we had a ton to move, a ton to kind of figure out with Kirby finding a job, me kind of transferring over, every single thing that goes into the blog and more. So that's why I wanted to do this, just because I can speak firsthand from it. And we've gotten so many questions and seen so many different bloggers like asking about it on Facebook groups or, in some of our DM groups and everything, because I know summer and spring and even fall is a really popular time to move, whether it's moving states or like across the country like I did, or even just moving from an apartment to a house, different apartments, different cities, whatever it is. It can be a really popular time to kind of make those changes. And if you're an entrepreneur, especially a blogger who's on social media all day, every day, who's trying to do posts every day or 3 times a week, whatever it is, it can be like, oh my God, what the heck am I supposed to do when all of this, is happening? Like, how am I supposed to keep it together? It's very daunting. So I'm just here to tell you a few of my tips and then give you some things that we've already actually done on My Haute Society. So if you need actual resources or to listen in any further, you can do that. So moving while blogging, it is stressful. It definitely is. It is a mind game. I think social media altogether, social influencer, can be a big mind game just because you want to be constantly present in your life, but you want to be constantly present on social media as well. So it's kind of like playing 2 things at once and knowing when to take from one or when to take from the other. So it can be really exhausting and really daunting. But one of the things that I made sure is, like, we had talked about moving for months. Obviously, I found out I was pregnant Christmas morning, so we knew things were going to happen. We just didn't know when, because Kirby had to search for a job and find one here, while I was lucky enough to just move my job. So we knew it was coming. We just didn't know when. So what I tried to do is kind of prep as much as I could. And then when Kirby got the word and we had like 2.5 weeks to really like pack everything up and actually move. And then he started the job 3 weeks after we found out total, but we had to obviously drive from Colorado all the way up here. So we had a lot going on, and I was trying to prep myself as much as I could to having posts already scheduled or already partly written or fully written. And I tried to do shots early on so I didn't have to do like outfit shoots in the middle of like packing boxes and eating out every single night and all that stuff. So my tips are definitely just stay prepared and be prepared. And so kind of like prep yourself as much as you can. I know it sounds, again, really daunting, and it is, because you're trying to be like, as a blogger, you always think you're going to have 50 things prepped months and months in advance, and maybe other people do, but I'll have a schedule out like a month in advance, 2-3 months in advance kind of, but not everything's prepped, where you still have to kind of be current, and you're buying a dress here or there, you're buying a pair of shoes, or my bump kept growing, so I didn't want to like take pictures like 5 weeks in advance and then all of a sudden they see me somewhere else and my bump is like twice the size. So you want to try and be current, but you also have to be smart. So it's really just playing those 2 things at once and being easy on yourself. Know what works for you. If you're a full-time corporate person and not a full-time blogger, maybe set out like a weekend where you could have just prepped as many posts as you could, or decided to do as many shoots as you could to kind of get it done. Or if you're a full-time blogger, really using those days wisely. I had the first 2 weeks before we like actually drove from Colorado to Minnesota, I was working non-stop because I didn't want to be stressed out when I was driving. I didn't want to be taken away from the present moment of moving with my husband when we were pregnant to move home, because it was exciting and I knew I wasn't going to be able to do everything, especially being pregnant. So those first 2 weeks before we moved, it was like go time for me. I had a schedule every single day, between my Haute Society, between my blog, Everyday Chiffon. I was prepping as many posts as I could, and then I also took it back a little bit. I normally do 3 to 4 blog posts a week, and that couple weeks I prepped myself to only do like 2 posts every single week I was going to be moving. So I think it was like 2 weeks that I only did 2 posts, and I prepped that in the 2 weeks before we were moving, where I was still pushing out the 3 and 4 posts. And then another thing I did is updated some of my old posts. So if it was like a shoe post or something, I went and grabbed a bunch of new styles and linked them with my affiliate links, and then just had those ready to go, so I could just re-shout out a post instead of having to redo an entire post, which we recommend all of the time, but especially like if you're moving, really utilize what you already have done and what can kind of work through this time frame. So prepping everything is super important. Being easy on yourself is super important. Enjoying the moment is still super, super important, especially moving. It's exhausting and exciting usually wherever you're going, so you don't want to like miss out on that opportunity because you don't have anything together. So another thing is really just being aware of where your address is, where you need to change things, making lists. I made so many lists, it wasn't even funny. It's like I was planning bachelorette parties for my sister and bridal showers and everything in the midst of all that. So I had like a sheet of paper that had like 5 or 6 different lists on it, one of it being the blog and like what I needed to do as a business owner to kind of transfer my blog over. And some of it, you're going to get lost in the mix, and you're just going to have to figure it out when you get here or to wherever your location is, because you can't do everything and you can't know some things that you just don't know. One thing like we had to do, Kara and I, with my Haute Society, if you do like podcasts or even anything, I didn't have Wi-Fi for like, I think it was like 5 days or something. Like I couldn't have the guy come out till like Monday or Tuesday. We moved in Thursday, so there was like a whole weekend of time that I was on my phone, obviously, but I couldn't get on my computers. I couldn't like log in to do any podcast interviews. I couldn't really do anything. So prepping yourself for that, if you know that's going to happen, have things scheduled on your blog to actually just shoot out, or images if you use like Planoly or something to just post for you, and then be on your phone kind of engaging through that. A last tip that I can give you, so I'm not like rambling a ton, because we have a ton of resources already that you can go check out, so I don't want to like kind of re-say everything that's on there, but engaging through the entire move, bringing your followers with you is super important to me. I am super real. If you follow me on my blog, I try and be as much of an open book as I can. And with that, I really like to bring my followers through every single aspect of my life. And that's what I like. I started my blog as just a pure fashion blog, and then once I got into it and really started like understanding what blogging was and what I wanted to bring to the table and what my why was, as we always say, I brought my life into it, because I realized that I am an open book to my close friends, my family, distant friends, like really anyway, I just kind of like am open. So I didn't want to hide anything, and I knew, obviously there's things that are personal to me, so I'm not saying I just like spirit everything out, but overall, I really try and bring my followers along on the journey of life, and I don't, make things perfect, and I try and show them as real as they are. And so I was bringing my followers through every single aspect of it. I was showing them our disaster of a house back in Colorado when we were moving box after box. We were trying to sell furniture because we only got a 2-bedroom here like we had there, and obviously that's going to be the nursery now, so we had to get rid of bedroom furniture. We had to switch things out. We were tossing things, donating things, literally eating out like every single night, which was not great for my pregnancy weight gain probably, but we tried to kind of keep things healthy, and it was what it was. Like we couldn't, that's what the honesty was. I didn't want to hide anything. So taking your followers through that is really fun and a really good way for them to engage with you, and also a good way for you to kind of start tapping into whatever new city you're going to be in. Obviously, if you're staying in the same city, that's like one thing. I would just kind of bring them through, show them your new location, show them what you've been going through, show them how you've kept it together, whatever. But moving to a new city, I was trying to kind of like get into that Midwest, social media market. So tagging locations, using hashtags through your stories or your posts, keeping people kind of like updated on what you're doing, why you're doing it, when you're doing it. So then you can kind of be already in the know or already popping up in other people's things in other cities where you're moving to. So it can benefit you in more ways than one, but overall, I think just connecting with your followers, showing them what you're going through, and showing them kind of the life that you're living as a blogger and moving is really hard, but can be really, really fun. So that's kind of my ramble. I hope you guys got something from that. This will be where I think we're going to put this like on IGTV. It might also be in our stories. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I wanted to give you a few tips on what we've already done. So if you don't listen to our podcast, it's called Blogged on iTunes, and it's super fun. We have, I think, almost 30 episodes already done since we started the Blogged podcast, and we interview a lot of leading experts or other bloggers and kind of like figure out different information on if they're like a marketing influencer agency, or we've done like 4Card, which is like that, or we've brought in like the owners of Planoly, the creators of Planoly, to kind of like give us tips on why they created that and give you tips on how to use it. So we do all of that, like anything you could use for social media, we usually bring on there, and then we bring in bloggers as well. And then one of the things we also do is kind of try and do like mini episodes of just Kara and I, so you guys can get to know us better, how we started our blogs better. And one of the ones, how we started our blogs together or as separate, not better. I don't know why I said that, but you know what I'm saying. So one of the ones we just did, episode 27, is moving and your blog. So we wanted to kind of do a deeper in-depth of what I just talked about, of how we kind of kept everything together. We go through like a list to kind of give you guys really good tips on what you guys need to do. So some of the things I talked about will go in depth on the podcast, so you guys can actually hear what I had to go through and every little step of what I was trying to do. And so if you guys are planning on moving, or you know a friend who's a blogger that's planning on moving, you can have them listen in and download it so they can know like what I went through literally less than 2 months ago. And then alongside of that, we also have a complete guide to relocating. So members get access to that. Non-members, it's a small fee, but listening in on that and then reading that guide, we have literally a list and a checklist of like what you need to do before moving, while moving, after moving, during moving, everything as a business owner, whether you're even a blogger or just like an entrepreneurial business owner. It can have a lot of good tips on everything you need to do to kind of keep in track and make sure that you're not like falling apart at the edges. So I'm super excited to share that with you. I hope you guys got something from it. If you ever have any questions, please DM us. You can DM me even on Everyday Chiffon, at Everyday Chiffon, or even on my blog, or whatever you guys want to do, because I just went through it. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Kara's also a help. She's moved into a house like I think a year or two ago, so she's pretty still fresh on like knowing what to do and being a business owner while doing that. So it's been great talking with you guys. I've missed you guys. We're obviously trying to get more into a schedule and trying to kind of keep things steady, because I know we took a couple weeks off. So thanks for bearing with us. We are excited to be rolling again, and stay tuned for the next one.